Hello all! How's it going? Anne-Marie Francis, welcome. Good to see you in chat. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Music Talk stream. Whew, it's been quite a week, offline IRL. I don't want to get into it because, I'm not too explicitly political a streamer, but if you know, you know. Ugh. Welcome, everybody, one and all. I've been, putting in quite a bit of work into the glam metal deep dive. I've got the draft script, willing to go, but my primary goal right now is getting the cover for Led Zeppelin's "Thank You" finished. You might have seen in my community tab, I posted a bit about that, and I was working on that earlier today. Even, I've got that pretty much ready to go. I just need to record a little thing more for that, and I'll probably have it up sometime tomorrow. I'll try to get it up tomorrow, sometime this week or whatever. So things are moving on my channel, content is happening, but today, for this Music Talk stream in particular, what is it? I've been using this recently as a means to meet other VTubers, essentially, to reach out, sort of, I guess, find more my niche in the community as like this sort of music talker, this yapper, I guess. Oh, oh my gosh. Seems there's insufficient disk space on my computer to continue recording this stream, but it happens. We continue on. I will have to work on that later, unfortunately. But without further ado, my guest for this week, somebody I've never really spoken with myself before this, but he's a friend of Teji's, and if you were here for my stream last week, what's my favorite song? That's a good question, Anne-Marie Francis. I really don't know off the top of my head, but it's probably something by King Gizzard, 9 times out of 10. But yes, my guest. He is, his username, you can literally call him CJ. His name, I guess, is CJ. He's this futuristic archivist. Won't you all please welcome CJ?
Hello, chat. It's good to be here.
How's it going, man? Good to be speaking with you. Good to meet you. So, just for my own curiosity, you are a future archivist, right? Like, or what's your? I mean, you have a whole bunch of lore on your Twitch page.
Yes, I do. Long story short, I'm in the year 30XX. A sort of benevolent mega corporation is been contracted by the Galactic Unified Government to kind of try to document as much as possible of the 21st century as part of what has been dubbed Project Butterfly. This is me working to that end. I'm trying to document as many stories as possible directly from the inhabitants of that time, specifically to avoid any kind of like lost in translation stuff that might happen given just the time that can
Interesting. That's I mean, I'm not usually one to be too deep into the VTuber lore things. I mean, fuck's sake, the most I'm willing to go is that I'm just a cat boy who lives in New York City, with I guess a bunch of other cat people or whatever, and I just rock out. I play music and I smoke catnip. That's that's the long and short of things, right?
Of course.
But what's that informed by? Is archiving a passion of yours at all?
It's more just in the sense that I am the kind of guy that loves learning. I love being able to just find out about new things, and an archivist in terms of lore is just kind of the most conducive to that because their whole thing is just managing a giant swaths of all kinds of information, you know?
Absolutely. I very much resonate with that. I I used to be one of those kids that, just for the sake of it would fucking browse Wikipedia and, look at random articles and learn, random factoids and that sort of shit. I very naturally
The
gravitated
Wikipedia
towards
deep
like
dives were
yeah, exactly,
always killer.
exactly. Yeah, I very naturally gravitated towards like an archival mindset. That's kind of how I got, I guess, my start as this deep dive music historian VTuber, right? I mean, I have a bunch of IRL experience that I don't need to necessarily get into, lest we get, threaten my own identity or whatever, but it's
Right.
like,
Don't need to dox yourself in
yeah.
the first time we talked.
Yeah. But it's like I really do love like going back and finding especially with like culture, like going back and like looking at a piece of music or like a concert or just a band in general, their entire history, and view it in the context of the time they performed in. I think that's really fascinating stuff. Like I don't know, how big a fan of like classic rock are you?
Sorry, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but my dog is kind of going a little crazy right now.
You're good.
Jesus Christ. Let's get the door. Um, Classic rock. Like I don't really like go on my way to actively listen to it nowadays, but like
Makes sense.
I grew up like whenever my family was in the car, mom would always have like a classic rewind on, or just one of those just like classic rock channels. So I grew up like knowing about and appreciating classic rock, and
Oh yeah.
even now I'll still go back and listen to like kind of random bits like 25 or 6 to 4, stuff like that, because like
Yeah.
I was the guy that would like when my mother first got me a copy of Guitar Hero 3, I played through the entire game in one sitting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God,
Like
I
I
remember those.
so
Old, yeah.
yeah. So even if I don't actually listen to it, I have a like an appreciation for classic rock.
Yeah. No, I feel that too. My mom used to have like Sirius XM radio, and I remember she used to she was a new wave girl back in the day, so she had this there was this one custom like new wave station on Sirius XM that we would always turn to, and I was raised on that sort of stuff, like new wave, classic rock. Yeah, my parents were deadheads, was the thing, so they were very much into like, that sort of 60s, 70s psychedelia, hard rock sort
Yeah.
of thing.
My mom wasn't, but my mom's brother, my uncle, was a huge deadhead. So I know
Oh
you're,
yeah.
I know what it's like.
Yeah, it's that unique American, I guess, cultural context of having like having parents who were on tour with the Dead. What was I? Yeah. When did you first like take an active interest in music? Because I mean, I know in the limited conversations we had before stream today, you said you're not so much a musician yourself, but you are, very passionate about music.
Ooh, that's actually kind of hard to say, mainly because it just kind of as far back as I could remember, music has always been a big part of me. Like, like, do you know the game Osu? It's like
Yeah.
I made my account on that game in 2009, and I still go back and
Mm.
play it. I still
No,
play it semi-regularly.
Frank Stillag, how's it going, man? Good to see you. No, I remember.
That Stalag. Oh God, that is not a name I expected to hear in this day and age. Jesus. Okay.
Frank's the like. What's the? Is he in your chat?
No. Not the Frank part, but Stalag is fucking just nuts. I barely
It's a
know
cool
how to
name.
describe Stalag as a group, but like there are things that kind of dub the work by Stalag as like the most terrifying album of all time. Like
Are they?
Unironically, yeah.
What are
I
they?
remember.
What sort of band are they?
Oh God, I don't even know how to describe it because, like, all I really feel comfortable with saying is that the ending G and H in Stalag stand for global, and then the atrocity that Mustache Man did among all the Jewish people in World War II.
Oh no.
And that should tell you all you need to know about Stalag.
Yeah. Fuck, there was something else I was going to pivot back to that you were talking about, but I guess completely got derailed.
Derailed by Stalag, yeah. Yeah. Like as I was kind of saying, as far as like really kind of far back as I can remember, music has always been a part of me. As I mentioned, I was a band kid. Before that, I was in orchestra for a hot minute. Like again, I just don't really know where to go from here. Like, as I kind of mentioned, I'm that guy that always loves finding new artists, new sounds, new vibes, whatever, because just to see like if it's cool or not. And kind of to that end, right now, just on Spotify alone, my liked songs is currently at 2,305 tracks.
Yeah. Now, I've had Spotify for quite a while myself. Man, I couldn't tell you whatchamacallit, what do I got? I got like 3,000 plus likes. I don't know. I don't really use Spotify all too often. I mean, that's mostly like my gym streaming service, right? Like whenever I go work out at the gym, I usually play Spotify playlists. Though when I'm at home, like I'll try to listen on YouTube.
Yeah, I very much am the same. For a long time, I was the kind of guy that would try to, if not physical copy, at least like a downloaded copy of any music I would like to listen to. But then over time, mainly once I actually got my own car and started spending a lot more time driving, the convenience of Android Auto and Spotify kind of swayed me. And so I was spending a lot more time using Spotify. And also Spotify is just much more useful for like when I'm trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Because like it has like the built-in sleep timer and stuff, and like my
family I didn't even think of
my
that.
family pays for Spotify, so we don't have any ads. It's nice high quality. Like it's just useful.
Now that's the thing with me. I don't pay for the premium. I don't know if it's out of spite or whatever, but like no matter how many shitty ads they throw my way, I've never had like Spotify premium. I don't know. I don't really like to keep track of like too many like streaming services or whatever. You know, I wish I was sponsored by like fucking Rocket Money or whatever, but like I don't like, you know, keeping track of, you know, all too many subscriptions. You know, I don't have any like streaming you know, TV or movie services of my own. I don't like, you know, I don't pay for, you know, I've never used like Apple Music or like Tidal or Deezer or any of those other alternatives. I'm just sort of stubbornly, like, I guess, entrenched in the past where like if you go on YouTube and you've got a, you know, a good recording of a song uploaded on there, you're fine, you know, but
right.
It just feels like that past is rapidly slipping away. You know, Google is trying to crack down more and more on like ad blockers, so you can never really get that good like a full like album listening experience these days. It's like
the only way. I have so many thoughts on just the rapid like commercialization and I guess less more like commodification of just all of these platforms and how just I can't really say just actually yeah no just how straight up greedy some of them are getting in terms of their monetization practices. Spotify especially,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if like really don't have a choice at this point given how much my entire family uses at this point because we have a
Yeah.
family plan.
Yeah, I
But
mean
yeah,
Spotify. The thing with them, the thing with a lot of those platforms, right? Like it's at the stage now where like they're the innovation that they're promising is no longer able to keep up with the profit that they're continuing this like how to say they've run out of like that initial investment and now they're seeking more opportunities to monetize because like they essentially their early days the reason that things were so much better earlier on is because they were essentially subsidized giving what they were able to give to us.
yeah. In essence, it's kind of like the extension of like the dot-com bubble of the mid to late 2000s and like the
Yeah,
90s and
yeah.
stuff. And now that that's very much effectively burst, they've been trying like hell to find some way to turn a profit. It's why they did the
Absolutely, yeah.
podcast stuff. It's why they've done the audiobook stuff. They're trying to find a way to make a profit in a way because like most of the money that Spotify makes doesn't go to them. It goes to like the recording companies and the artists. They get very little of any dollar they actually make, and so they have to
Oh yeah.
really struggle and scramble to actually make something out of it.
Hmm. Frank Stalag. Stalag is lo-fi black metal, but they cut in screams from mental patients in the music. Ooh, that sounds interesting.
It
But
is
on an but
very
on
intense.
but on an unrelated note, I booked tickets to see the band Beat. Oh, yeah, I want to see Beat too. That's I remember I promised you guys I wanted to redo my King Crimson discography ranking stream because we met that incentive for my Internet Archive stream. I want to do that, but I want to go see Beat before that so I can have, I guess, a better evaluation of 80s King Crimson. Are you familiar with King Crimson that much, CJ?
I am aware of them. I haven't really listened to them.
They are, ooh, I mean,
I
there's
am
so many.
aware of how much like I know of how much music they make and like how good they are. I just never really have had the time to like sit down and really listen to them because it seems like one of those kind of things where you need to devote a good chunk of time to like listen to and truly parse what it is you're listening to. It's not like an easy experience, I guess.
Oh, I mean, sure, yeah. I mean, it's I mean, I kind of have I guess a different experience than most, being I guess more trained in music, like playing jazz and like I guess coming up like so rhythmically, I guess. But a lot of what King Crimson does is just, I mean, for one, they have multiple different like sort of eras to them. Like in the first place, like the first few years, they were more traditionally, I guess, progressive rock, like in that sort of psychedelic meets folk rock meets classic rock meets it meets classical meets classical music, just sort of combining into a very I guess very,
I,
very tasty whole,
yes, yes. I understand the appeal of it because like I'm the guy that occasionally listens to like King Gizzard and stuff. So
Oh
I
yeah,
can
love King Gizzard.
I've tried a little bit of Tool, so again, like I know about that world of music and why it's so cool, and I can
Yeah,
understand. But it's something I can really listen to, like when I'm in the mood for it.
they're a prog band's prog band. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Frank. I love personally like my two favorite King Crimson eras are probably like just after like those first few years they had like a lineup that was more I guess improvisational focused, a lot more abrasive. Like they had for like the first few years, they had like this percussion guy who had like toys and like bells and horns and a bunch of other weird other aux percussion things. And what was it? They had like a violin player, but it was really a core trio of like John Wetton on bass, Robert Fripp on guitar, and fucking Bill Bruford on drums. Oh my god, Bill Bruford is a monster on the drums. if you've ever listened to him, like he does phenomenal work in like some of Yes's early albums, some of those King Crimson. Like he's also a member of like the 80s King Crimson lineup that Frank was talking a bit about. That lineup, Discipline, Beat, and Three of a Perfect Pair, those albums are really unique in that they sort of blend new wave, progressive rock, a few other different, like more, I guess, I wouldn't say like radio friendly sound. I mean, in some cases, like 80s King Crimson was very radio friendly, but they also were very experimental with like soundscapes and like early synth work. It was just like very brave new. I mean, progressive rock wasn't really that much of a thing in the 80s. It was a lot more, I guess, synthesized to the mainstream. But at least King Crimson was doing something a little more interesting with those synthesizers. How's it going, Jukebox Cowboy? By the way, feel free to speak up if you're feeling at all overwhelmed. I know I tend to yap on quite a bit about the music history.
Oh no, it's quite alright. It's cool, like hearing just how much you know about this stuff. Like this is very much clearly like your thing, and so it's cool to hear just how in depth you can get on this.
Yeah, no, it's I did an entire King Crimson discography ranking stream a few years ago. You know, back when I started off as a VTuber, you know, I had it in me that, you know, I wanted to go the route of, you know, the traditional VTuber and do like, I guess like 3-5 streams a week, do like video game streams alongside like music review streams, alongside maybe music practice streams, maybe karaoke's. You know, I had a whole bunch of different fucking ideas, but I was too lazy to fulfill most of them. But I did do some discography ranking streams back in the day, and King Crimson was my very first. I remember listening to like all of those King Crimson studio albums, and you know, it's been a while, but I still quite fondly you know, hold King Crimson in high regard. Though I think I am due for a revisit. Oh my gosh. So you, how to say, you what are some of your favorite music bands? You mentioned you've played Guitar Hero, right?
Yeah, I played a lot of Guitar Hero. I played a lot of rock bands. As like I kind of mentioned with Osu, like I'm very much in them more in like
Osu, that's right. That was the thing I
Yeah.
wanted to loop back around to, because I played, I guess, a bit of Osu back in the day, but I was never really like that, I guess, passionate about it in that way. Like, what was it? I remember it more as like Elite Beat Agents, frankly.
That's where I started with it too. I wanted to find more Elite Beat Agent style gameplay after I had beaten the entire game.
Oh yeah. That's fucking banger of a game, and it's so cool how they had licensed music.
What you mean, in Elite Beat Agents? Or
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
they did like the Guitar Hero 1 approach where they suddenly where everything in the game was actually a cover by like an in-house band.
Oh yeah, I guess that
None of the
makes more
tracks were like
sense.
the official versions. Everything was a cover to get around copyright issues.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense, man. That was such an interesting feature of like the early music game landscapes, like having the in-house bands do cover versions.
Right.
I would be interested in going back and seeing how those hold up, but I don't know. I don't have the time for that. uh, yeah, jeez. I used to fucking. I was so passionate about Guitar Hero and Rock Band back in the day. I think I mentioned this in a few different talk streams in the past, but have you listened to Alice in Chains past Lane Staley? I've what was it? What was the one album? Actually, there was two Alice in Chains albums post Lane Staley that I listened to. There was the one that they did immediately after reuniting. Then it was what was it? The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, or something like that. It's really cool, like the sort of development Alice in Chains has undergone since reuniting. I mean, they're still sort of tapping into that 90s grunge sound, but going more explicitly ham into sludge metal now, and it sounds great, man. I don't know how much you know about Alice in Chains, CJ, but they got some fucking heavy shit in their discography.
Right. It's one of those things where, like, where would they? Would they be technically be a grunge band?
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, they are one of those. I would say they're among the big four of grunge. You know, alongside Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden.
right. In that case, I've listened to about half.
Yes, Black Gives Way to Blue. That's the album.
About half of a single Alice in Chains song.
I highly recommend like going back and listening to Dirt from 1992. That's if there's any like essential Nine Inch Nails. If there's any essential Alice in Chains album, it's probably that one. Though there's also, you know, a sleeper opinion. I also really do love the self-titled 1995 Alice in Chains album. That's really cool. The one that has the three-legged dog on the cover.
Noted, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's grunge is a really cool genre. I really ought to I really ought to dive into it more. I mean, I guess I'm currently in the planning stages for this entire series on glam metal, right? And I guess at some point I have to talk about grunge and how it sort of came in and killed glam metal, but I don't know. Probably won't focus too heavily on it. And do you have any favorite rock bands? Like what in terms of like your taste in rock, what do you like listening to?
The rock specifically, it's a little hard to say because I tend to kind of go more towards like metalcore and post-hardcore and stuff like that.
Okay.
With like pure rock, the only one that's coming to mind right now is this more obscure back. They're called Plane Ride. I believe they're based out of Sweden, I think. I mainly found them on TikTok a little while ago, and their songs are like really fucking good.
Interesting.
It's Plain Ride. Like they have a song called Shepherd that's basically just like 6-7 minutes of like some of the most Call of Cthulhu ass nonsense I've ever fucking heard, and it is so good.
Fascinating. I'll have to note that down. I love jotting down all these suggestions that I get during these streams. I was telling Teji, I used to have, I don't know where it is now, but I had this receipt from Subway that I was writing like all my suggestions on, but it sort of vanished. I don't know. It'll probably resurface sometime. So I guess I don't know. I was snooping around. I guess your YouTube playlist, and you have a bunch of electronic.
oh yeah, those are fucking old, but yeah. It was mainly for a while.
Is that your favorite like musical aesthetic? I guess, or
sorta ish. What I will say is that a lot of those playlists are from when I was still, I think, in the end of middle school, beginning of high school, where for some reason the school Wi-Fi had Spotify blocked, but not YouTube, and so
Mm.
I took like Spotify playlists that I vibed with and used a program to or something to like convert them to YouTube as best as I can, and just kind of used those
Oh,
while I was there.
makes sense. Yeah. I admittedly don't know that much about electronic music. I mean, I kind of talked about this in this one patron exclusive video. I can kind of elucidate, I guess, my opinion on it here. Like, I can appreciate the history. Obviously, it developed out of actually like the classical tradition, if you believe it or not. Like a bunch of classical composers used to experiment with a bunch of like electro static tape, or whatever the material was, the tape that the tape was made out of. They used tape loops. They used all sorts of different I guess ways to synthesize. My language is failing me. I smoked a
I
bit.
understand I understand what you're trying to say. Like, yeah, like early electronic music it sounds absolutely alien, like nothing
Yeah,
else out there,
like the
and
work of
it's
Stockhausen going in and like fiddling with oh my god, like if you go back and like like type in like I guess Karl-Heinz Stockhausen in Google, odds are you'll find a picture of him lined up against like a wall of these old ass like 1970s computers. And like they were using that shit to like synthesize music like from the tap. It's it's funky like how they were able to do that in an age before the standardization of all that on keys.
right. Yeah.
But outside of really appreciating that history, like the whole culture of electronic music never really, I guess vibed with me as much as rock music. Like going out and I guess seeing shows and all that, and like I don't know, the whole scene of electronic music. I feel like is a lot more of a party atmosphere and deliberately.
As someone that's much more into electronic, that all kind of depends on where you go, because
Yeah,
like some things very much are like all about partying. Like, I will admit that, like, if you go to like Coachella or whatever, it's all gonna be just like big room
yeah,
house, stuff that's to be like like partied for,
yeah.
like just
But
like they call big room house like the pop music of EDM
oh
for a
yeah.
reason.
But then again, you could also levy, a bunch of accusations against certain rock music about, being more, partying and stuff like that. I mean, God knows,
Exactly. Exactly.
fucking,
There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people that try to go a little bit more commercial, quote
yeah,
unquote.
God knows you could say so much shit about fucking Poison. I don't know if you know a lot about Poison outside of like what they did in like Guitar Hero or whatever, but like who I used to kind of have like a hair metal phase back in middle school, right? And I used to like Poison pretty well. They their first three albums, like Look What the Cat Dragged In, Open Up Say Ah, Flesh and Blood, it's decent hair metal, but like at the same time it's it's very poppy, it's very party all night, sexual innuendo laden, just very bottom of the barrel rock music in my opinion. uh
Right.
uh I started really getting the music during the 2020 lockdown, looking at the history of grunge. Now I have a vinyl collection ranging from prog, typo negative, new wave, and they made. Oh my gosh, that sounds like a rich collection. God,
I wish I had the means to have a vinyl collection, but
yeah,
no.
same. Like I living in New York City, there's like so many fantastic record stores out there, like independently owned chain record stores, whatever. Like there's a bunch of opportunity to go out there and collect vinyl. I don't really have a machine. back home, my mom has this one turntable. I don't know if it really still runs as efficiently as it did back in the day, but I I need the goddamn turntable up here. As soon as I get that, I should should start investing in egg crates for the albums.
Hell yeah, man. You okay, man?
No, I'm fine. I'm just drinking.
Ah, right.
Uh,
To like I saw that like kind of earlier on people like I think it was Anne-Marie asked what my favorite song is, and I will admit that is basically impossible to actually quantify because of how much I listen to and how varied it is. Like you saw, I do listen to a lot of electronic stuff, but again, I also listen to like a little bit of everything else. I listen to a lot of different metal genres, a little bit of rock genres, even a little bit of country and classical. Like I will go anywhere,
nice.
go anywhere and everywhere where there is good sounds.
You have a favorite classical composer?
I know he's technically not classical. It's probably more like neoclassical, whatever. But Shostakovich is fucking incredible.
Yeah, I love Shostakovich. I definitely would classify him as a classical composer. I mean, it's interesting, right? Like we sort of end the sort of canonization of like classical music artists, like right after, I guess, the fall of the Soviet Union. I guess that history is still being written, and like, if we have like music history textbooks in like 50 years from now, we'll probably have a more detailed understanding of what's happened the past few decades. But it's just like the history of classical music and that the divide between what we label that and pop music and everything, it's so fascinating to me, seeing where we drew those lines in the past.
Right. And like I've kind of seen a little bit about it, like just the whole idea of like what even classifies as classical music is such a huge can of worms. Like I remember watching a video with like the proper term for all those things is, I think it was like literally called art music, which already has a whole bunch of connotations in and of itself, saying like if it's not that, it doesn't count as like art music, and then that gets the whole idea of like what counts as art, what's not art, what's like how far to go to like then, but like the soul of the artist inside the work that creates, suffering the art from the artist. It's a whole fucking thing that is just.
Yeah.
How is it that there is things like in every single field, in every single world, there's going to be some amount of controversial, inane bullshit?
I don't know, man. Oh, man. My record collection is the love of my life and the bane of my existence. Oh my gosh. I can believe it. Yeah, I mean, I make a decent amount of money every month, enough to pay rent and live and whatnot. But I don't know. I don't quite have. I don't quite have the. I guess the financial planning to build a record collection at this time, unfortunately. Like so many other things in life, I'm strapped by my cash.
Likewise.
Man. Do you have any fun concert story? I mean, I don't know if you've gone to very many rock concerts, but if you have, is there any stories from the past?
I have been to exactly one concert in my entire life, and that's because my sisters had an extra ticket because their friend backed out and they needed someone to go with it so they wouldn't waste the money. So I went to Ed Sheeran during his Plus tour, I think it was, and knew maybe one song he played.
Oh boy. I don't really know that much about Ed Sheeran, to be honest. I mean, I know he's the big, is he Scottish? I don't want to offend, any United Kingdom nationality that's not British accidentally by calling them British.
I do not know because I have not listened to him in any real capacity since then.
Yeah, but whatever the case, I only know a few Ed Sheeran songs. I just know him as being that scruffy, scrumbly looking guy. Yeah, I've whatchamacallit, I've played I've played a bunch of shows myself, right? I oh shit, hold on a second.
You all right?
Yeah, it's just my looks like my browser accidentally just crashed.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but apparently Chrome's no longer my default browser. What the fuck? I'm switching that.
That is very unsettling.
Yeah.
Something bad just happened.
It's okay. It's okay. To be honest, we got a message pretty early on in the stream that what is it? Oh god, what's happening? Why is everything going out of whack here? Hold on a second.
Yeah, it looks like your face tracking just died as well.
Yeah, give me 1 second here. Oh fuck.
Oh, you okay?
Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm just I am freaking out here because I'm losing control of these scenes.
If it helps at all, your stream is still just your default.
Yeah, no,
Like,
the stream's fine.
Oh,
I just gotta I'm just getting jumbled with where I'm clicking is all.
Got it.
Okay, move around. Yeah, this where am I? Oh, here I am. All right, we're back.
Yay!
Yeah, this model, this current model that I'm using right now, it's been a surprisingly resilient boy. I've had this since September, when Vroid really sort of updated their whole aesthetic and stuff and allowed like cat ears for the first time. I made this updated model on this old design, and I'm too lazy to update it since, but it's been serving me well.
Nice, yeah. It's kind of funny you mention that, because my model is technically like the fourth or fifth iteration of the original design I had.
Oh,
and it's kind of been crazy to see how it has evolved over time.
Did you make your own Vroid model yourself?
Oh no, I have 0 art skills.
Oh, okay.
But it's called, originally, I was a PNG tuber, then I was a half plus live 2D VTuber, then I had a actual Vroid model that was made by like a really new kind of first time, or other way to early artists, I would say, like to be off a lot more they could chew, and I have so many horror stories with that model. And then I got this one from an absolute savant, just saint of a person named Baowen, and I've been happy with it ever since.
That's well, God bless you. That sounds like that sounds like a whole odyssey.
It really has been, especially the endeavor to actually get that old Vroid model to be more useful, which is what led to this, was because Bayo was so fed up with trying to work with what Poyo had done, that they were just like, you know what? We'd be okay if I just made you a whole new model, and they did. And it is absolutely wonderful, and I haven't looked back since, because goddamn, this thing is like, it's like 9 day compared to my old Vroid
there you
model.
Go. Does it have any like I guess like arm tracking or anything fancy like that, or is it just like one of those?
It does, but I just don't have it enabled, because I don't have like any kind of hand tracking stuff
Makes sense.
with me. But it's it's more just in terms of general like art style, quality, and usability, with the fact that it is like a VRM file and not something a lot, not just really like a VSF avatar file, and there's just more to it. It just also just kind of looks nicer,
Right.
in my opinion. Like the old model, I very much looked like I was a little kid,
Yeah.
and it just was not the best.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad
Yeah.
that I have this now.
Definitely. You know, I've wanted for a while to. I don't know necessarily if there's any motion tracking for arms or whatever built into my current model, but I've wanted for the longest time to get that capability. I mean, I don't have the funds to buy my own like tracking devices currently, but you know, in the future, I want to get to the level where I'm able to do like more stuff. Like, I'd love to do someday like a drum practice stream. You know, like being able to like if I had like some sort of 3D model drums that I was able to track into my actual IRL. I have like this electronic kit
Oh,
that I practice on.
mixed reality stuff, like what they do for like Beat Sabers and stuff. That would
Kind of. I mean, like I
that
don't know if
would
you
be
watch. I don't know if you watch Zentreya too much. I think sometimes she does like these drum cover streams herself, where she's like drumming on the side, and it's like sort of tracking her. I mean, you don't really see. I don't know if she. It's been a while since I've seen those streams, so I don't know if she plays like on like a model drum kit or whatever. But like being able to do something like that, I would love to have that sort of immersive, I guess, motion stream.
yeah, that would be really fucking cool. Agreed.
Mhm. I mean, I've tried in the past. What is it? There's this one app. What is it? Virtual Face. It's like, I think like Apple or whatever that iOS exclusive app. But essentially, if you have like a VRM or whatever, it takes your head and it like tracks it to your face, and like it allows you to take like selfies or whatever with your VTuber
Yeah.
model.
There are a couple of apps that do that kind of thing, and they all have their own quirks. And I know this because I've tried a lot of them.
Would you do you got a list? I mean, I only know about the Virtual Face.
Maybe it all depends on if I still have them installed on the phone I use for tracking, because like my daily driver is a Galaxy S9 Ultra, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
But I got I just kind of bought, and I think it was like an iPhone 10 or something to use for face tracking, and so I had
that's
a lot of fiddling with that stuff.
What is it with like does Android not have too good like face tracking technology? Is that like Apple's bag?
For a sorta, kinda. There are solutions for it on Android, mainly the actual mainly the Vtuber Studio app, and also this one called, I think it's called Vinian. But the thing is though, is that those still just kind of use like your normal, just like a normal camera, and a lot of really good coding. But iPhones have, the Face ID.
Oh yeah, I guess like
They basically just use those sensors, stuff that makes like AR emoji and stuff work. That's kind of the backbone of like VTuber tracking, is that kind of stuff, because it just gives it a lot more finesse and detail that would necessarily not be able to be picked up through just a flat camera.
Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. It's wild, like how far VTuber tracking technology has come in the past. Would it be like? Would you say like 10 years? When did Kizuna Ai debut? Is she 10 years old? I forget. But like, no, it's 2016, right? VTubing is a long and storied history. It's incredible though, being able to see.
Her first channel, according to her first channel, apparently was November of 2016.
Yeah. It's incredible in that time being able to see like these 3D concerts with all these VTubers coming to life. Like
yeah,
the fucking Hololive is actually going to be in my neighborhood like next month. I'm torn, you know. At the moment, I'm highly considering. You know, I don't even know how long tickets are going to be on sale for it, but like, I'm highly considering either going to like one day of Anime New York City, or like one of the Hololive concerts. You know, like ah, it's one of those crippling, well, not crippling, one of those hard financial decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, something you really have to like kind of devote to.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's just like, because I've been to the King's Theater before. That's the theater where they're gonna be, and like, I don't know if you've ever seen any pictures. Like, look up King's Theater Brooklyn and like look at the pictures. It's like this beautiful opera house of like a theater, and like Hololive is gonna be there. They're gonna be like singing to the rafters, and it. I get chills thinking about like just all the fucking pen lights that are gonna be raising up in like waves.
Oh yeah, the fucking glow sticks and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one hell of a sight, I imagine.
I mean, I've never personally been into idol music myself, but you know, I'd go for the experience.
Yeah, I'm like loosely into like one or two J-pop acts.
Yeah.
And that's mainly just because like they're the ones that aren't like fully traditional. They actually try to do something kind of unique with it. And they don't like treat their talent like absolute junk. Like I've heard the horror, like I've heard the absolute horror stories that have come out of the J-pop and K-pop industries, and it is next level the shit they get away with.
No, I hate fucking exploitation in music industries. It's never fucking easier to to read up on whether it happens here in the West or out in the East, you know?
Agreed.
Fucking what else? Are there any like musicians that you would ever want to like meet? Like, yeah, any famous stars or whatever.
Oh God. I won't be able to, considering they passed several years ago, but I would have loved to be able to see Wawaka if I could.
Oh yeah. Who?
Yeah. Wawaka. They were a Vocaloid producer, and they were kind of like a lot of people. They were kind of like my first experience of Vocaloid in general, with stuff like with like Uramote Lovers, Rolling Girl, those kinds of tracks.
Are you a huge Vocaloid fan?
I wouldn't say huge fan, but yes, I've been a very steady Vocaloid fan.
Makes sense. Yeah, I've never been big into Vocaloid personally, but I really do appreciate like the sort of scene it's developed. Like, it's a very interesting idea having these...
Vocaloid in general is very freeing because it lets you have vocals without having to devote all that time and energy to like learning how to sing or to just like find someone that you're like able to work with.
Exactly.
And the power of Vocaloid is that even with just the same voice bank, two artists can sound wildly different because of just the quirks and how they use it. Like Vocaloid kind of becomes an instrument in and of itself, the specific like voice banks they use, and it's genuinely kind of cool.
Yeah, it makes it more of like a producer's game, and that's what I really appreciate.
Yeah,
you know, getting
like a lot of modern day Vocaloid artists, they will legitimately put a P at the end of the name because it stands for producer.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like being behind the board and just like cooking. It's fascinating to witness. Like I don't know if you know Noriboshi Ariel at all, she's a good friend of mine of the channel. But
No, I don't.
she's an indie VTuber, and she's really good with the whole music production side of things. Making I guess these sort of metal inspired arrangements or whatever of J-pop tunes and what have you. It's really cool stuff, like being able to see a really good producer behind the boards just like cooking.
Neat. Yeah, yeah.
uh um I mean, unfortunately, I'm not able to do that much of it
Yeah.
myself. I was just
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, like I'm very much of the same thing. Like I've always wanted to like try to be like a music producer or whatever, but even just like FL Studio and just getting FL Studio is like an absurd amount of money to be
Oh
able to
yeah.
just do like the basic things. Like
Yeah.
with the free version of FL Studio, you can save projects, but you can't open them back up.
Hmm.
You,
I
the
will
only way to
say,
open projects is to then buy FL Studio,
yeah.
which basically means that you can only use it as like a fucking like store kiosk demo, which is absurd to me.
I will say, as far as free DAWs, Reaper hasn't been that bad to me. I mean, it'll occasionally, every time you boot it up, it'll have the pop up where it's like, "Are you sure you don't want to buy the product?" But like, it doesn't like.
Teji, welcome in.
Hey Teji, how's it going, man? Good to see you. But yeah, Reaper, it'll bug you, every time you open it, like if you want to buy the full version. But like, it doesn't, at least from
Like
what
WinRAR.
I've used. Yeah, exactly, like WinRAR. But like every time I've used it, like it doesn't feel like, at least to me, it's restricted me at all. So I don't know. Reaper's a pretty good DAW. I would recommend. That said,
Fair enough.
I don't know. I'm not that good a producer myself. I was working earlier on this vocal cover I did of Led Zeppelin's "Thank You," and I'd like to think it sounds pretty decent. I'm basically, what was it? I took like this pre-existing backing track, like this rough track that existed from like the Led Zeppelin 2 remaster that came out like a decade ago. They put this instrumental of like "Thank You," and I recorded a vocal and vocal harmony over top of it. And I got this friend of mine to like record a harmonica solo in the middle. And I'd like to think it came together pretty decently, but it's not a studio professional recording by any means.
Right.
Streams
We're not
going well.
we're not
Yeah.
asking you to have like studio recordings. That's just like not really feasible for
Yeah.
someone with our stature, our means, but there's still some charm to that, the more indie feel of it.
Yeah. Honestly, I do it more for fun, if anything. Like, I'm not.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a professional like music VTuber. I'm more so a deep diver, if anything.
Right.
Stream's going well. It is, Teji. We're just chatting it up. As Oh yeah, I guess kind of leading on from that. If you were to learn any sort of instruments, which instrument would you want to learn? I mean, you expressed interest in like music production. I don't know if have you thought about learning any instruments to go with that?
I have a very weird relationship with drumming in that I had a drum kit for a while. I used to take drum lessons for a bit. Like for a long time, I had an E kit and I really had the ability to actually use it.
Oh, okay.
So like I always loved to try to get a little bit more hardcore into actually learning how to play the drums, but it's mainly just like it's only just like a space thing at this point. Like at my in our old house, I used to have an E kit, but because of how everything was, if I played it for more than basically if I hit a pad even once, everyone in the entire house knew that I was doing it, and so I could only play it for a couple of moments at a time before everyone in the house got really, really, really angry at me. So I never
That's
really, it's
relatable.
like, I used it maybe once or twice and then never again. And then I sold it after enough time on Facebook Marketplace just to like try to get something out of it.
As somebody who lives in a New York City apartment, that is a relatable experience. No, that's the reason I have an electronic kit. I can't really get away with anything.
No, even with an EK, just the sound of like stick against plastic, or whatever. Even that was still too much. Yeah.
When it comes to singing, I do it for fun. Oh no, me
fun.
too.
I also would like love to be able to take like some proper singing lessons.
Oh yeah.
As well.
No, it's good. It's always good to have like proper, I guess, experience with controlling your voice, because I had my own I had some singing lessons for a few semesters in college, and that was a lot of fun getting to have a bit more control over my pitch, my range, and what have you. But in the end, I felt more, I guess, connected with rhythm, and so I became more of a drummer. I don't know. I leaned more into like learning rudiments and fills and whatnot than continuing to up my game. Because the thing, I don't know. I mean, I know it's all sort of connected, but the thing that really bugs me about vocal lessons back in college is that they really my teacher, he very good singer, but like he always approached it from the classical training perspective of things, right? I mean, and I love classical music and all that, but like I feel like there's a skill at taking that classical training and blending it more into a casual way of singing. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I don't know.
I kind of get it. I just kind of want to have to circle back for a minute. When you said connected to rhythm, it just kind of brings up like a cool thing I've had sitting in the back of my head for a while. It's like, I don't know if you ever looked into it, but very distinct, different parts of your brain process melody and process rhythm. And so what I truly believe is that, like how some people are left-handed, some people are right-handed, some people have more spice tolerance, some people have less spice tolerance, some people have the marker that makes cilantro taste like soap, some people don't, that kind of stuff. I do well and truly believe that some people have a predisposition to liking rhythm or liking melody. Both in terms of performing and also just listening to it. Like it's probably especially like
that's sorry, go ahead.
It's part of why I kind of like, I still love like good music in general, but it's kind of like, especially when I'm in more of an electronic mood, even with stuff that it does have vocals in it, the vocals just kind of, the actual words kind of fade away a bit and just kind of become part of the soundscape. And like there are times like if I'm trying to go into work and just stay awake, I'll just listen to just like hardstyle or something where it's just bong 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 bong, just like it is nothing but rhythm, and I fucking love it.
Hard bass and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah, like D Block, Warface, all those kinds of people.
No, I feel that. But it's interesting. I feel like like with melodic instruments, you need like some sort of feel for melody. For I'm sorry, I'm speaking nonsense. For melodic for melodic instruments, I feel like you need some sort of understanding of rhythm, whereas it's not true for vice versa. If you're predominantly percussion focused, like you can master all the rhythm you want, but like, I mean.
See, I kind of feel you're kind of like leaning a little bit more into like composition more and like in theory stuff, and that's definitely there is part of it. But in my mind, like to just write a good melody, you just need to figure out like the right sequence of notes, and
Yeah.
from there you can then like just kind of start iterating to figure out the rhythms of that. But the melody is specifically just the notes themselves and the order they're used.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, how to say, like, melodic instruments, like,
Jazz fusion. So jazz fusion for you, yeah,
like
yeah, Frank.
instruments. Oh
Like
yeah.
Cassiopeia is just some of like the cleanest, most just I know what I'm playing. Just some of the cleanest music I've ever fucking heard is
Oh, yeah.
Cassiopeia.
I love those.
Yeah,
love
I
those 80s
agreed.
Cassiopeia records. What is it though? I don't know. I was on a much bigger jazz fusion kick a few years back. Like, not just Cassiopeia, but like going back and listening to like those Herbie Hancock records that he did with like the Headhunters and those other bands. Like, that's some fantastic jazz fusion. Like, even some of the stuff that like Miles Davis was getting up to in that period, it was like super fucking out there and bizarre, and some respects avant-garde, but it's also very driving, like electric jazz sort of like. It's crazy how wild like jazz got like in the 70s, and then it sort of just retreated into like being this legacy genre. You know, I'm afraid like it feels to me, right, like genres operate on cycles where like they have about like 30 year or 50 years where they're like the major like commercial or like critical force in the world, but then they sort of fall out of favor and become more of like an academic or like studied genre, you know? Like, I feel
I'll actually kind of fight back on that a bit, because like, yes, people aren't playing like the old jazz standards anymore, but in a sense that's because new jazz standards have emerged. Like a big band cover of a Kirby track was not for and won an Oscar several years ago. Like the 8-bit big band cover. Like, so I wouldn't argue that like yes, like the old like the old 20s and 30s jazz standards, those are like basically just old. Like, yeah, those are like old and gone and mainly for study. But
right.
like then more modern music has taken that place. It's much more based off of like video games and stuff. Like I mentioned again, there's that Kirby stuff. There's all of the crazy music in like the Persona series. There's there's Mario Galaxy stuff. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
so
like jazz, it definitely has like a place in the modern musical landscape still, but it's not like, you know, the dominant commercial genre or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's like the same with like rock music, right? It emerged in the 50s, was like sort of peaked in like the 70s and 80s in terms of its commercial dominance, kind of in the 90s too, but then it really started to sputter out and die in like the 2000s. And, you know, you've got like all these different revivalists or whatever, or like underground rock bands going around nowadays, but like they're not nearly as like big a commercial force as, you know, they would have been like decades ago.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
now, like,
it's all pop now.
And now hip hop
that's like the top 40 stuff. Yeah, it's pop, a lot of hip hop.
And now hip hop is kind of seeing like its own kind of decline, like in like after its own like 50-year cycle. Like now, as we're seeing more genres like hyper pop or other diverse you know, genres influenced by rap.
Okay, I'll say this as a fan, as a lover of hyper pop. Hyperpop is in no way a popular thing. It is, was, and always will be niche, because it is tied specifically to the internet, to meme culture, to just the really, really specific corners of like modernity. When those go, when those specific things go, so will hyperpop. Like 100 gecs, like one of the biggest modern day hyper pop things. Like when you think of hyper pop, you think 100 gecs, like Money Machine and stuff like that.
Right.
If you listen to their latest album, 10,000 gecs, there's very little true hyper pop actually on it. There's a lot of, it's all very loud, very 100 gecs, but none of it is just straight hyper pop. Everything is very, very different. If you like, like I Got My Tooth Moved is fucking ska. They're like 757 is
Yeah.
it just everything. Hyperpop is in a sense has already died, and it's just becoming other styles of music that just so happen to be extremely loud.
Yeah, it's I don't know like where pop music is heading in the future, but it's interesting. Like a lot of the artists that are on the charts this year.
I would argue that in a sense, recession pop is what's back. If that makes any sense to you, like do you remember like the old Pitbull records of like the 2008 financial crisis?
Are you talking like club boom sort of music?
Yeah, like Pitbull, Black Eyed Peas, that kind of music. Like, I would very much argue that that's kind of what's starting to make a bit of a resurgence. Like, Kesha is back, and the music is fucking great. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
And it just kind of shows like that is what's coming. Recession pop. Yeah, it's kind of like to fight, kind of like the idea of like as like the world is going to shit, everything is kind of on a downturn, but so to counteract that, music tends to get brighter, more upbeat, happier, to try to kind of like take your mind off of that, which is why like again during like the 2008 financial crisis, it was all like Black Eyed Peas, Pitbull, all of it was all about having a good time and partying and stuff like that to try to like again get your mind off of the dumpster fire that was the real world.
Life
and I would argue that in a sense that's kind of starting, well, yes, it truly never really died, but now it's really starting to like come back in a big way into the mainstream. And it also doesn't help that usually like the real attempts to like try to do like normal pop stuff tends to crash and burn really, really, really fucking hard. Like I'm not even talking about like the like everything with fucking JoJo Siwa, but I mean more in the sense of like more in the sense like the latest Katy Perry record. It was so it felt like it was just, it almost felt like it was AI generated in a sense, like especially in terms of like lyrics and stuff. And like yes, obviously like you don't go to pop music for the lyrics, you go to it for everything else. But it's just but it just was indicative of the larger package and how it was just on a downturn. And now this and the newer sound, which is very much the older sound, is trying to come back. Like there's always waves of nostalgia, and now it just happens that the nostalgia was for the late 2000s, early 2010s, which is why like everyone's messing about like Fruitiger Arrow and stuff like that in terms of aesthetics and things like that. Webcore, analog horror is making way into digital horror now. Like
it feels to me like our cycles of nostalgia.
Everything is always looking back 10, 15 years. That's just how it works.
It feels to me like our cycles of nostalgia are getting like shorter though, like as technology continues to develop, you know, like feels like we're gonna be looking back like on the past 5 years and like 10 and 20, you know, and like thinking that
that part of that there's probably a whole lot of things you could chalk that up to, just with like I would argue that a part of it is just like how quickly technology and things are advancing. Like it was like a year and a half ago when Dolly Mini first came out, everyone was just laughing their asses off at it. And now it just gets more and more concerning realistic with each passing day.
God, I remember thinking AI was this quirky, humorous thing, you know, on YouTube when I would see these these hilarious ass garbled AI covers of things. But nowadays, I look at that stuff and I'm just like,
It was the beginning of the end.
Yeah. We really got to get some regulations on that shit, man.
Seriously.
You know, it is interesting though. Like I really do like this pop landscape a bit more now than than it was like in the late two. It feels like there's a new generation of stars rising, and it's
Oh yeah,
it's
one
great to
one hundred
witness.
percent. It's all spurned on through like social media and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like
fucking
I mentioned,
TikTok, like TikTok's
I mentioned
reach.
JoJo Siwa for a reason because JoJo Siwa's entire thing circulated on TikTok, which is what led to Britt Smith becoming rediscovered and her literally contemplating coming back to do pop music,
Oh
just
yeah.
because of how much the actual original version of Karma hit it off.
Mhm.
And I will say that Britt Smith's version of Karma is a fucking banger. Like
Mhm.
it is very 2010s, but that's because it was made during that time.
Yeah.
And like I will argue, and like I argue with my friends and my SO that if Karma came out during when it was released, it would have been immortalized alongside songs like Angel of Darkness and just become part of the Nightcore pantheon. I
Hey.
truly think it's that good. I
There you
truly
go.
think it's that good.
The God, Nightcore, man, that used to be the most frustrating shit back in the day, wanting to find like an actual upload of a song on YouTube and only getting the Nightcore version.
What's that suggestion? If you're talking about the song I just mentioned, it's Karma by Britt Smith. Is that latest song I was kind of going on about a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. God. It's crazy how that story sort of unfolded. JoJo Siwa looking like fucking Gene Simmons, you know?
Yeah, I can see it. And like, and every now and
I
then,
mean, the
because
thing
of
is,
how my
he's commented on that actually. I think he's approved of it. He's on board.
I mean, just because he's on board with it doesn't mean everyone else is, you know?
Yeah, no, I know. It's it's just funny seeing Gene Simmons try to think that JoJo C was the sort of person he wants to keep the Kiss brand around.
Virginia, you're fine. The whole point is that you guys are able to interact with us and be part of the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
It's not just me and Rezi just yapping about stuff.
Yeah,
The whole
no.
point is that we involve all of you guys too.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
love.
feel free to talk, chip in,
I
whatever.
love interaction. This is how I this is how I interact with my community every week. I mean, beyond, community posts and all that sort of stuff. I really need to get better at upping my social media game, man. It's just a
same.
struggle. I'm a lazy cat boy. It's in my nature.
Yeah. And it also doesn't help that a lot of time social media posts are less about being genuine and more just playing to the algorithm.
Yeah, and participating in trends, and there are so many Vtuber trends on fucking Twitter, and I'm like, do I participate this for the one, maybe two
You mean, like-
followers it'll get me?
Gaming trends are so fucking ridiculous to actually handle and follow. Like they're very much like fad games in my mind. Like Lethal Company, Getting Over It, to a lesser extent Among Us. Like there are things that will come and go
Yeah.
just by the nature of how they are designed.
Yeah.
So, thoughts on proto metal?
I love a lot of
It's
that
hard
early,
to-
like that psychedelic stuff in the
Well,
60s.
no,
with,
not
like,
early
Vanilla
metal,
Fudge.
but proto metal. So that would probably mean stuff like Helter Skelter off of the I think it was the White Album.
Well, yeah, that's
Like,
what I'm
I'll-
talking about. Like that sort of late '60s, like fuzzy, sludgy psychedelia. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. Like going back and listening to, like Vanilla Fudge used to do a lot of that sort of stuff too. I don't know if you've ever listened to their version of "You Keep Me Hanging On," but it's like very
Vanilla
dramatic
Fudge,
and
I'll
epic.
admit, no, but it sounds interesting. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
write
yeah.
that down.
And also Iron Butterfly, fucking Inagata Devita, that was that's a classic in heady
Do you know the song?
psychedelic.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know the song "Good Time" by Owl City. Yes, that is like quintessential recession pop. That is like iconic recession pop.
I only know Fireflies. Like that's the only Owl City I'm familiar with. Though it's interesting, sort of how Owl City's had a resurgence in in recent times with there are a few VTubers I think influenced by Owl City's whole sort of aesthetic, like Ren Zoto, like Niji Sanji Ian, I think was influenced by him.
Maybe. And like I will admit, like Owl City is very much kind of like a guilty pleasure kind of artist, but
Yeah.
there is still some crazy stuff in it. Like, have you
Yeah.
like there's a track that Owl City put out called The Tornado,
Mm.
and while a lot of it does just kind of sound like Owl City just sounds like Fireflies too, there are a couple parts where it just gets really like grand, epic. He does literal harsh vocals, and it makes me just kind of helps keep wonder what would have been like if what the heck his name is that is Owl City decided to front like a metalcore act or something. It because it like he has some really truly good harsh vocals in that moment there.
That Owl City is Diet Postal Service. Interesting. I've never listened to the Postal Service. Slayer cover was pretty funny and good. Wagner is proto metal. Are you talking about the classical composer, or is there a band that I don't know? I mean, Wagner definitely his compositional style was influential to metal bands. You listen to that sort of
a
neoclassical.
lot. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of like it's all just about like iteration being built upon what came before it. So like jazz was built off of classical. Classical. Blues was built off of classical, jazz was built off of blues, metal was built off of jazz, and then metal was built off of itself into the 70 trillion different subgenres and niche spaces that makes metal such a confusing beast to get into.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that's when you can tell a genre's reached its commercial course, when it's become just oversaturated with all sorts of different subgenres with minute differences between them. Like, what are the different? Like, there are all these grind genres, there are all these core genres, and I can't tell the differences between them half the time.
Because Stravinsky invented Slayer. I mean, you can definitely argue that there are some tracks like that are basically just metal without distortion.
I mean, Yngwie Malmsteen, for instance, he would definitely trace a lot of his.
I was talking more about straight like have you heard of Royer at all?
What heard of who?
I don't remember, just like a composer from the 70s. I don't remember if he counts as classical or not, but Royer. He did a lot of like solo stuff for like harpsichord and stuff. He has a track called Vertigo that genuinely is it feels like the kind of thing that would become like I just don't even know how to just
like
fucking
speed
describe
metal,
it.
that sort of thing, like shreddy.
Sorta, yeah. Like I think he technically would be Baroque, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But it's called I'm just gonna just DM you the specific cover, or just put the specific cover I'm talking about in chat. It is
sure, yeah.
The stuff that he does, it truly does feel like it is metal music before metal music. That track,
interesting.
in particular.
Do you mind if I go real quick to get some more water? My cup is empty, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Go right ahead.
1 second. Let me just pull up the glass. All right, I'll be right back.
No worries. So, I cannot tell if y'all can see me or not still. Or is that really all? Oh, he just puts just a PNG of a glass of water on screen. Hell yeah. Just hi, I guess. If you guys came in kind of like partway through stream, hi, I am homie CJ. Long story short, if you care about my lore, I am broadcasting back in time from the year 30XX to get every possible story from the civilians or the citizens of your century to kind of like try to help preserve them and document them back in my home time. Recommend Dvorak. Dvorak has been on my radar. But something I've really had the time to really listen to. But
Dvorak's a banger, yeah. He's a banger.
Yeah.
Hey,
like I know he's.
By the way.
Yeah. Hi. Welcome back.
Yeah, he's a banger of composer. At least Symphony.
Oh wait.
9.
He did From the New World. Oh yes, then I have heard Dvorak. Yes, that one is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Just had a brain fart. I just had to listen to it. I was like, oh wait, yeah, I know this.
I think Dvorak also has this like Requiem Mass that's really fucking. Is that him? Let me look at that real quick.
Requiem is Mozart.
No, like there are a few different composers that do requiems. I think he's got one that's. Yes. Dvorak's got his own requiem that I remember like listening to ages ago. That just bowled me over. It's so good.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I just know about like the Requiem, which is Mozart.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no, there are a few like the Requiem Mass is like a sort of. I mean, it's more a structural thing in Catholicism than it is like any one piece. I mean, like
true.
Thoughts on Mountain the band? I don't actually know that much Mountain. I only know Mississippi Queen, obviously. I mean, that's a fucking killer tune, but
yeah, but that is like the white bread of Mountain, as far as I thought. That is like, but also I say that as in that is the only song I've heard of theirs as well.
Yeah. There is I mean, there's this really good channel on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever heard the show Beat Club. There used to be like this German TV program in like the late 60s, early 70s where artists would go on and they'd be shot against these like green screen, blue screen, early sort of like digital sort of cutout effects or whatever, and they'd be pasted against all these like trippy psychedelic effects as they played, and it's like really super cool like early music video type footage. What was Mountain was on there once, and I think there's a really good recording.
Oh yeah, oh wow, yeah, this looks incredible. Like there's like seems to be like an archive of it on YouTube or something. This looks
Oh yeah, they were on
crazy.
there. They played Don't Look Around, Roll Over Beethoven. Yeah, there was this super cool performance of theirs.
I'm definitely checking that out later.
Beat Club.
That is a rabbit hole.
Beat Club is a fucking treasure trove of like old 70s performances. It's great. Like I love like any. What else? There are these other shows like.
I also just realized that it would probably be better like with the Vertigo thing. That is specifically the link for it. But I don't know why yours is a hyperlink. Yours is clickable, but mine's not.
It's okay.
No, I will figure this out. Make it as painless as possible for your chat because like people need to hear this song. Okay, no. Apparently, your chat just does not like me adding a link, making it clickable.
Yeah, I think
Fair enough.
I'm the only one with link privileges,
Fair enough.
unfortunately.
Fair enough. Worth a shot, though.
Yeah, it's great. Like those old, fucking old-timey music video. I've wanted for the longest time to like shoot a music video in that sort of old-timey fashion, but. I don't know. I would need a budget for that, and nah.
You could probably look into using Warudo, because it's like and then probably just be a case of like pointing a camera at itself kind of thing to
Oh yeah.
do. Like there definitely are ways possible to get that kind of effect. It just
Yeah.
would take a fair bit of fiddling.
Definitely, man.
New Cat Temper. Who's that? Cat Temper.
Cat Temper.
811 monthly listeners on Spotify. Okay. Oh, they are synthwave. Fair enough.
Interesting.
I don't really listen to them not much outside of TWRP, but hey.
Feelings on loudness. I've actually been getting into loudness recently as part of the glam deep dive that I'm doing, and the first few albums are interesting. Like not the most focused metal albums. I really like, what is it? That one
Electronic punk. Yes.
Loudness.
Yeah, I was about to say that, Cowboy, because like their most popular song on Spotify is called Tomcat Sawyer, and you can probably guess what it's a cover of.
That's funny. What else? Oh yeah, Disillusion. That was the album of Loudnesses that I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I also really enjoyed Thunder in the East when I listened to it through it. Well, I don't know if I listened through it entirely, but I've definitely been listening to more Loudness recently in preparation for the Glam Metal video. Have you ever heard of Loudness?
I have not.
They are a like really interesting band in that like they were one of the earliest like big Japanese metal bands, like J metal, or like is it called J metal?
I guess.
I don't know.
I guess.
It's definitely like they were one of the big early Japanese metal bands along with like Bow Wow. They're another group that I really like. I'm doing a glam video. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm currently in the process.
Yeah, J-Metal is probably a whole rabbit hole. I don't really have the energy to really go into outside of like the few ones I really listen to, like Maximum the Hormone, Gelica, stuff like that. But I'm always looking for new stuff, and yeah, like hey, if this shit sounds good, then I'll check it out.
Yeah, no, Loudness. Yeah, they're interesting. Like they also were one of the earliest like Japanese bands to like really break through in the West. Actually, they got signed to like a major American label, and they were on the road with like Motley Crue and a bunch of other like big name.
Wow. Okay.
American bands.
Right. I just kind of panned through one of their songs, Soldier of Fortune. It really just sounds like fucking what's the term, like new wave of British heavy metal, like sound.
Exactly.
And I honestly I fuck with it, like that shit goes, like I fuck with that.
Yeah, them and Bow Wow too. Bow Wow have some incredible albums. Like their first 3 albums, was it? Yeah, Bow Wow, the first 3 albums, and then like they had 3 other albums in the 80s that were just like straight. It was like the Michael Jordan with the Chicago Bulls, right? Like they had a 3-peat once, then they had sort of a few albums where they kind of dipped in quality, and then they came back in the 80s with another fucking 3-peat, and just they have an album that's called Hard Dog, and it goes fucking hard, dog. Like it's. Bow Wow's an incredibly underrated Japanese metal band, and I really want to bring more attention to them with my channel in the future.
Virginia's you're beautiful to fucking Nardwar in Virginia. Look at that in chat.
Where did I find that info? I mean, I just remember seeing like I don't know if it was like what article I was finding. It's come across quite a few sources in the deep dive. I'd have to plunge for it. Motley Crue though, that is an interesting story. I don't know how much you know about Motley Crue, but I really like how they started off. Their first 2 albums are really cool. Too Fast for Love, Shout at the Devil. After that, they really just sort of started. I don't know what it was. getting samey, really just sort of souring as people, and just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's like Motorhead became the kind of people that right wingers thought Rage Against the Machine was.
Mm, my God.
But
I need to
yeah,
listen to more Motorhead. That's a band I admittedly have limited knowledge on. I mean, I've heard Overkill, I've heard Ace of Spades, probably a few tracks off of Bomber, but eh. Cold Chamber, I've heard of that. Cold Chamber, what are... Oh, a new metal band.
yeah, Staliga's kind of been, or Frank have been talking a little bit about like new metal type stuff.
Loudness got a great amount of attention from MTV. Oh yeah, they had quite a few music videos. The Dirt didn't do the book justice. Could have been like Wolf of Wall Street. God. I mean, it was... I feel like, any Motley Crue, or at least any big band biopic that's, in theaters nowadays, gets the involvement of the living band members. It's always going to kind of be a little bit of a puff piece, right? I mean, you got fucking Bohemian Rhapsody being the editing train wreck that it is. You've got what was it? Yeah, The Dirt, very, very sort of sympathetic, puff piecey to Motley Crue. I think the only real notable success on the biopic front in recent years has been like Rocket Man, and that's because Elton John was like, "Hey, go crazy, tell my story," in all of its in all its ugliness.
Yeah. Elton John wasn't trying to like hide anything. He like, this is me, take it or leave it. Shit has been wild.
And I'm hopeful for the Beatles biopics, because apparently, what is it? Apparently, Paul
For me,
McCartney
it's
Ringo
also
Starr
more
are...
for the Michael Jackson biopic as well, and hoping that one turns out good.
There's a Michael Jackson biopic in the work?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been following that. I wish.
Yeah, it's set to come out next year, and half the reason why it's so big is because it has his nephew in it, Jafar Jackson, and
playing Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Jafar generally has like a small music career of himself. Like, there was a whole thing about like one of his tracks leaking, and like people like uploading stuff to Spotify under his name using like AI stuff, and it's been a whole thing with Jafar, and it's such a shame, honestly, because I'll admit, I kind of drank the Kool-Aid for a minute, because there was a song that showed up on his page called Rebirth of Michael, which was supposed to be supposed to be like for the Michael Jackson biopic, whatever, but it wasn't. It was sort of like a demo thing from a canceled album that he tried to put out a while back. So it got taken down. People have been like, every now and then would be uploading stuff to other leaks of Jafar's stuff to his own artist page, most often with AI album covers and stuff. So it's been a whole debacle. It's been a damn shame.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
Because he does have one like actual legitimate song of his on his page called "Got Me Singing," and it is genuinely just like really, really nice. It does just sound like Michael Jackson has like come back.
God, it really sucks what that entire goddamn family's gone through over the decades. Like at first they had to deal with their abusive father, then they had to deal with the trauma of that, and the fallout from their own fame and the paparazzi hounding them, and then Michael's own actions, which we shall not speak about, in the 90s. And it's a whole lot,
Yeah.
What was it? I was on a big Michael Jackson kick a few years back, though. like the sort of run he was on in Bad in what was the album he had? Dangerous, the one where he went New Jack Swing. He was cooking with that shit. I just
Agreed.
wish it could have lasted a bit longer, that whole glory period, but whatever. You know, what happened.
In Virginia, allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. Glam Techno Dub Rock. Oh yeah, Siga Sputnik. You told me about them a few times. It's a good album. Yeah, no, Dangerous is very, very underrated. Let's see. I haven't been listening to, admittedly, no, I've listened to a lot of Michael Jackson. I haven't listened so much to Prince. You know, that's another, you know, one of those big artists that I've been wanting to listen to, but he just has so much goddamn music.
Yeah, and then also even with Prince, you then still have to kind of also then go down the whole rabbit hole about the artist formerly known as Prince and that entire just spectacle, which is also just another piece of just bullshit that I really do not have the mental capacity to even try to parse. I know it's old news, but just ingesting it in general, it just would take a lot out of me.
Yeah.
And so I've also tried to kind of stay away from Prince.
Visited Paisley Park recently. Very interesting. Well, I'm sure it's a lovely ground over there. Hot take, Bad is better than Thriller. I don't know if that's a hot take necessarily. I feel like a lot of people generally agree that the album Thriller is generally very underwhelming. Like, even with some decent deep cuts here or there, like Baby Be Mine, like I feel like that album is mostly just carried on the strength of its singles, if anything. Whereas, like, you go back and you listen to Off the Wall, and that is just back-to-back fucking incredible music.
Right.
His first album was... Oh, yeah, Prince's first album. Yeah, he recorded all the instruments. I really love when... Do they really think it's underwhelming? I mean, maybe underwhelming is harsh, but I don't know. I don't know if I've seen Critical Spaces like Thriller as much as, like, say Off the Wall or Bad. Like, I fucking love Off the Wall. Off the Wall is probably one of my favorite. It's either that or Bad for my favorite Michael Jackson album. Call it. Let's see. Get on the Floor is one of the best ones. Yeah, it's fucking banger. God. Whatchamacallit. You got any other hot takes that you want to throw out there, CJ? I've kind of run out of questions myself.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm kind of running out of stuff to say as well, and it is almost 9 p.m. and I definitely need to eat dinner. So,
you want to call it here?
I think this is kind of run its course. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, it's been a pleasure, man.
Likewise, yeah.
You definitely a pretty cool chatter. I'd definitely love to, you know, keep in touch in the future.
Of course, man. If you ever want to just talk or even just like share like music tracks, whatever, just let me know and I can definitely put you on something. I don't know.
Hell yeah. And if anybody in my chat wants to come find you, where can they do so?
All of my socials can be found at callmecj_.card.co. You gotta spell out the underscore because it doesn't allow special characters. From there, you'll be able to find my personal YouTube, though it's mainly just like a broad archives channel, my Twitch, my Discord, my Mastodon, which I really do need to get back into using. And from there, just kind of reach out, do whatever. Hopefully, if you guys want to see me a little bit more directly, I will be streaming I'll be streaming this Monday over on my Twitch. I don't really multi-stream because I still can't figure out how to make it look good for me. I'm gonna be playing Battle Chef Brigade, which is very, very different from my usual fare, but it's mainly to like kind of do my side of a bet with a friend of mine, and it's still gonna be a lot of fun, really cool. If you want to see a guy that doesn't really play a lot of puzzle games, play a puzzle game.
Okay.
Outside of that, if you want to talk to me more, just go in my Discord, and feel free to just like either if you don't like all active in there because admit it is kind of dead. Just feel free to just reach out to me directly or whatever, and we can just chat.
All right. Well, thank you so much, CJ. I'm glad to have talked with you. And thank you all so much in chat for coming in once again for another fun music talk stream. I always love getting the opportunity to come back and chat it up with y'all. I'll be updating y'all real soon on the thank you cover that should hopefully be coming out either tomorrow or sometime shortly after that. And yeah, from there, look out for more updates on the glam metal series. But until then, I've been merrier, and I will see. Oh wait, before I sign off, I should mention we're going to be raiding into Irie Veritas after this stream. I've already set the redirect. If you want to participate, that's all well and good. I'm just gonna say something like cat raid or whatever going into it. Yeah, just so you're aware, if you get sent to another person's stream, that's why.
I was thinking because your name is Rescue Orange, it could be like Orange Juice Waterfall or something kind of silly like that.
Oh my god, that would be funny. But yeah, no. Thank y'all so much for coming in once again. I've been merrier, and I will see y'all next time. Bye bye.